Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Partington. I am the Program Director of the Amtrak Advanced Transportation Program, and today I'm delighted to bring you two experts from the Great Lakes I-Corps Hub who are going to share information about the customer discovery process and programs. With me today is Babu Dasgupta and Laura Stevens, and with that, we will begin. Today, we're going to discuss the importance of the Customer Discovery Program and how that can really aid you when you are beginning the journey of translating your technology to be ready for the market. At Amtrak Transportation, what we do is provide a competitive grant-funded program. There is a proposal and pitch process that undergoes extensive support and review. We serve all of the public university researchers in the state of Michigan. It's a structured one-year support program with mentors and other tech transfer staff, as well as entrepreneurial ecosystem partners, such as our partners who are here today. We also help you identify industry partners who can aid you in customer discovery and advise on technology and commercialization development. We catalyze the input of the Oversight Committee Board from Amtrak, which consists of venture capital and industry partners to help you aid a successful project outcome. We fit here in the development process, and we look at high potential early stage translational technology projects that are typically entering a TRL level 2 to 4 and hopefully will accelerate approximately 3 levels. At a minimum, there must be an invention disclosure, and many projects have secured IP already or in process. We exist to help advance early-stage translational technology research in the transportation and mobility space in the state of Michigan. We work together to advance market adoption readiness to meet the needs of the market, whether it be in industry or infrastructure. We help support activities that can de-risk the technology deployment, and we provide high-touch support for university researchers and their team. We are very thankful to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for being a partner and a sponsor of this program. It illustrates the commitment to use entrepreneurship as a catalyst for economic growth in the state and beyond, and we reside at the University of Michigan. What are the ingredients for a high potential translational technology project for Amtrak Transportation? It has to be a novel idea with a clear and scalable value proposition. We have to be able to secure IP of some sort. There should be a beachhead market opportunity tied to transportation and mobility. However, the technology can also apply to other industry sectors. The technology must be pre-startup. The IP must fall under a public university or institution in the state of Michigan, and there cannot be a right of first option or exclusivity in place already. One of the very key ingredients for having a very successful Amtrak Advanced Transportation proposal is customer discovery. And learning through this customer discovery process is a very key first step and an ongoing process throughout the development cycle. With that, and I want to thank Babu for sharing his slide, that sort of shows at a system level how this trajectory can work on the opportunity from going from the lab to the market or from idea to impact. And on the left side, you can see the idea, and then coming through the Great Lakes Regional or local I-Corps, and the opportunities that then are presented going forward. Amtrak and the NSF-PFI program have compatibility, so there's opportunities to strategize around how you make those applications and how those programs can serve your development path. And finally, you head into the more mature opportunities for additional funding before you hit the market. So with that, I'd like to introduce Laura Stevens and Babu Dasgupta. And Laura, I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. So thanks for having us. My name is Laura Stevens. I'm the Assistant Director of the Great Lakes I-Corps Hub. I'm based out of the University of Michigan Center for Entrepreneurship in the College of Engineering. And I manage a variety of programs that support innovation, and I-Corps is the primary one, which we're going to dive into today. And a little bit about my background. I got a bachelor's from Grand Valley and an MBA from Eastern, and excited to be part of the U of M system.
Thank you for being with us today. Babu, would you please give an introduction and overview of yourself?
I'll be delighted. Hi, good morning. This is Babu Dasgupta. So I'm the I-Corps Outreach Specialist at the University of Michigan. And this is a part-time job for me because I retired from the National Science Foundation after having been there for almost 10 years. And prior to working for the National Science Foundation, I was the chief scientist for a large automotive manufacturing company in Michigan. And prior to that, for 12 years, I was a professor at a private school.
Thank you, Babu and Laura. So with that, we're going to dive right into the NSF I-Corps Hub at the Great Lakes region. And why don't you kick us off and tell us about the hub?
Yeah, I'd love to. So as you can see from this slide, it's a really regional collaborative program. So the University of Michigan sort of leads this collaboration of a variety of wonderful schools in the Midwest. And each one of us brings instructors and mentors and expertise around the customer discovery process. And we collaborate together to really make these programs effective for scientists and researchers like yourself. So we're really grateful to be a part of such a large group of people who are passionate about this topic and really bring a lot of expertise to help teams move forward faster.
Thank you.
So a little bit more about what exactly are we talking about here?
Yes. Let's have a conversation about I-Corps.
Absolutely. So I-Corps stands for Innovation Corps, first of all, so that might help set some context. But at its core, what we do is provide an entrepreneurial curriculum that allows scientists and engineers to evaluate the potential impact of their research. So our overall goal is to help reduce the time that it would take to bring your research and technologies from the lab to the marketplace and truly make an impact on a broad population. So we get excited about this because you all are all doing such cool things in the lab and such cool research. And sometimes people just don't know about it. And so we want to help you get those ideas and technologies out into the world to truly make a positive impact. So anyone can participate in these training programs. And we do primarily focus on faculty and students within universities, but truly we're open to anyone participating. And we always have programs going on. So you should be able to find a program that works for your schedule. There's generally, because we're part of such a large collaboration and each school is offering programs that are remote or hybrid, you can join a Iowa State program, you can join a Missouri University program. And so you can basically work with Babu and I to determine which one makes the most sense for your availability and interest, and we can help you get there. We offer about 40 programs per year, so there's always something going on that you can participate in. And you can absolutely do this while teaching and conducting research as well. So as I sort of mentioned, these are primarily remote and hybrid programs. So we do try to make them as accessible as possible to the broadest audience that we can. And typically we'll get into some more details about how the programs work, but they are usually somewhere between 4 weeks to 8 weeks long at the longest. So they can be pretty short or as long as you'd like to make them. So those are kind of the basics. Babu, is there anything you would add to that?
No, that's great, Laura. Thank you.
So 4 to 8 weeks and anyone can participate.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about customer discovery. What is customer discovery?
So in customer discovery, before we begin or go through the bullet points, let me just define very briefly who a customer is and how do we define customer. So just for everyone who'll be seeing this later on, a customer is any individual who plays a role in the adoption of your technology, whether it's a product, process, or service. And that's really important to know. So in essence, what I'm trying to convey is you need to really think beyond just end users. So just as an example, if you go to any organization and if you want to interview people, understand that there are other roles, regardless of the titles of these individuals, there are other roles that your customers might have. Some might be decision makers. They have the ultimate power to buy or not buy your technology. There might be buyers, like for example, a purchasing person at Ford or GM, in the automotive market. They're the ones issuing POs, and they're the ones, buying your product or, get delivery of your technology, your product, process, or service. So, essentially, there are different customer roles that you have to be familiar with before you start interviewing people. And again, the key statement is customer is anyone who plays an important role in the adoption of your technology. So now, what is customer discovery? Well, the bottom line of customer discovery is you really want to find out if there's a market for your technology. Does anyone care about it? So that involves interviewing your customers, potential customers, asking questions. It's essentially, analogous to gathering intelligence. What is the goal of customer discovery? Well, think about it this way. You get up one morning and you have this beautiful idea in your head. And within that idea, embedded are some of the assumptions or value propositions of the benefits of your technology to the customers. And you also make some assumptions about who might be potential customers, okay? So you now want to validate your assumptions. You want to collect evidence and find out if they're true or not. And that's the whole thing about customer discovery, the goal of customer discovery. You want to turn your assumptions, or the fancy term again is hypotheses, into facts through a series of questions that you ask of customers. Now, the key thing is, how do you conduct customer discovery? Now, nothing is prioritized here, but the key thing, in what customer discovery involves is essentially getting out of your comfort zone, and you have to talk to people. And everyone likes talking to people, right? But you really need to talk to people you don't know. Because if you talk to your grandmother or grandfather or your parents, they're always going to say nice things about your technology. They're never going to reject your technology, right? But, absolutely you can talk to them. I'm not saying that, you cannot. But you really, really, really need to talk to people you don't know, because they're going to be blunt and give you the type of feedback you need to hear. The framework that is involved in customer discovery is you just don't go out of the house and say, okay, I'm going to do customer discovery today. So there are 3 steps that I'm going to mention very briefly. One is, before the customer discovery begins, what are some of the things you need to do? So for example, identifying, who the people are and whom are you going to talk to? Coming up with questions that you're going to ask to test your hypothesis. And of course, that also involves, stating your hypotheses. And then the second step is during the interview. What are you supposed to do during the interview? The key thing is to focus on the questions that you want to ask to test your hypotheses. And please keep in mind that the questions that you're going to ask have to be totally open-ended. You must avoid confirmation bias when you are interviewing customers. And the third step of the customer discovery process is after the interview, especially if you're going out as a team rather than just as an individual, you should really sit down after the interview, at the end of the day or after each interview, and really talk about amongst yourselves, okay, so did we interview the right people? What did we learn? Did we test the right hypotheses? Do we need to refine our hypotheses? So that there are many things that you can go through. What will be the next step? Are we making any progress? Does our value proposition or any of the value propositions align with the customer's unmet needs? Now, the most important or the challenging part in the customer discovery is trying to identify the customer's jobs to be done. What is it that you are trying to get done, in your role? And in the process, you're supposed to ask, what are your tormenting pain points? The pain points could be related to finance, high costs. It could be related to not being able to scale up, productivity. It could be related to unwanted risks. Like, what happens if there's another pandemic? So dig deep into all these pain points. And then you also need to explore what the desirable gains are of these customers. What are the required gains, the must-have? So for example, when you buy a smartphone, that one of the required gains is it must work. You must be able to use this phone to make a call, right? What are some of the unexpected gains? That could be, again, I'm using the phone as an example, where you buy your smartphone, you don't have the GPS app in it, but you can download it, right? So there are different types of gains. I won't go into detail here, but again, what are the jobs that you're trying to get done? What are some of the tormenting pain points and the gains? Another question often asked is, why is it important to do customer discovery early on? Well, if you get an early start on assessing your technology and the market risk, you're better off. And that will give you an opportunity to pivot if necessary.
Fascinating. I mean, it's so interesting. And this is just really helpful. So, in summary, I'm really hearing you say, Babu, that you really have to think about the customer broadly.
Yes.
Including who's actually has the power to buy. Those purchasing people always seem to creep in. Ex-purchasing person here. Yep. You're encouraging people to think like scientists. You want them to develop a hypothesis. You want them to iterate. You want them to prepare questions, but really go back post the interviews and assess what the learnings were and where adjustments might be needed. It's a continuously iterative process, is what I'm hearing you say. Yes. And then really think about the scale, the value proposition, and how big the problem is, where the customer may potentially say, yes, this is a big enough problem where I'm truly interested. And are they validating your hypothesis, or are they providing you other feedback that might be insightful?
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that I might add here, and a question often asked is, how do I find these customers? How do I identify whom I should talk to? Well, you can start with, what we call friendlies, okay, people and say, hey, you're in the automotive market. Can you help me identify some people? And please remember, once you walk into that organization, and let's say you're interviewing me, for example, I'm one of the customers, I'm a decision maker or buyer, or whatever. Before you leave the room, we encourage you and we urge you to ask the question, can you please recommend a couple of other people I should talk to? Mm-hmm. Again, just remember that it's not just the title of the person that matters. What matters is really the customer role. And those are some of the things that the different customer roles are some of the things that you will learn in this iCore curriculum.
So I love that the finding the specific customer, the role of the person that might be assessing that or using that technology, and then not ending it there with them, but asking them to open the door to who else they can talk to. Or maybe even asking, like, what question didn't I ask that I should have asked?
Yep.
So continue to prompt that networking and that relationship.
Absolutely. And as I stated before, Anne, it's really important that in the customer discovery process, you are there to learn through open-ended questions, okay, with avoiding confirmation bias. And the key insights that you draw from the customer discovery process are really, really important, because they can, as I said before, they can feed your idea or famish your idea.
Great insights. Thank you. All right, moving on.
Okay, again, many a time questions are asked, well, so how many interviews should we do? Should they be quality interviews or a large number of interviews? Well, you know what? I'll give you one answer. Both are important, quality and quantity. Because, you know, I could go out today and have an interview with a potential customer, and let's say it ran for, instead of 20 minutes scheduled, it ran for 1 hour. So I might say, oh, great interview, I learned a lot, I'm done. Okay, but that is just an outlier. So the more interviews you do, the more data points you have, reduction in outliers, and therefore it allows you to draw more actionable, insights. Because remember, before you say, well, am I done with this particular hypothesis? Well, before you do that, or the one way of doing that is to look for patterns and themes. And if you think that after 30 interviews, after testing one particular hypothesis, you see a pattern developing, then you might say, you know what, it's now, the opportunity to move on to testing another value proposition hypothesis. And does the customer discovery process end? And the answer is very simple, never. Never, because, especially if you have a venture like a startup, if you create a startup, you'll be looking for customers for the rest of your life. And it's a very challenging step for a lot of people, because a lot of people are sort of intimidated by customers, but customers are there to help you. So if you walk into an organization and if you say why you were there, they will help you.
So coming from the automotive industry, I think a lot back to features and functionality, and sometimes the assumptions and hypotheses that go into that, and they might be quite data-based, and also customer discovery occurs. However, sometimes when these products and services hit the market, you find that there's unexpected feedback. And in the end, the customer tells, basically dictates whether or not the product or service is successful in the intended market. So that's great to know. And we're living through a time of great disruption. So the evolution of the technology itself can change over time.
Exactly. And, and another thing to point out is the customer discovery process is supposed to be a pre-prototype discussion. Okay, because if you talk about the steps of innovation, and one of the stages of innovation is technology problem fit. So customer discovery is essentially, I have a technology and I'm looking for a problem that my technology can solve. Okay, so and it's supposed to be a pre-prototype discussion. So I would urge you not to talk about prototype at that point. You first have to identify all the unmet needs, the underserved needs, the pains and the gains and all that stuff from the customers, and then think about the prototype stages. And that's where Amtrak and NSF/PFI come in.
And so Babu and Laura, throughout this curriculum that you offer, and you're going to go into more detail on that, you provide support to help the individuals going through this program conduct all of these different steps, correct?
Yes, absolutely. That's part of the steps that we walk you through is, what are customer roles that I should be thinking about? And, what is the value that I think I might be providing to these people? And how can I test that? Who's in the ecosystem that I can talk to? And what are some ways I can think about that? And the nice thing about our program too is that our instructors have really been through it before, and they understand what you are experiencing, and they offer one-on-one coaching with any team who wants to have it. So the instructors are really there to help you through this process, and they're truly a really valuable resource.
So that's wonderful. So you have the opportunity to really take advantage of and use the coaching that's offered for structured support throughout this process. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And if I may add on to what Laura just said or elaborate, I-Corps is not just about teaching, but it's also about providing tool sets to the participants. And Laura mentioned the ecosystem map. We also talk about the business model canvas. So there are various tool sets that we provide them so that they can do their customer discovery well and move on.
Wonderful. So
Yeah,
let's,
we are always, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we are
No.
always trying to put them on a pathway to success through the use of these tool sets and teaching.
and that's great to be able to draw from different tools as you work through the process.
Right.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the value? Could you talk a little bit about the value of the program? And I should clarify here that it's not automatic that you would receive these funding
Correct.
options that are listed, just in case someone takes it that way. These are opportunities to apply, and I'll let you talk more about all of these really cool benefits from this program. So I'm going to hand it back to both of you here.
So, when the I-Corps program was designed, when it was first started, the focus was mostly on faculty members, because they're the ones doing research through the graduate students. So even though the primary goal was to support faculty to take their research from their academic lab to the marketplace, some of the students were left out. And then we said, no, we need to focus on students because these are the potential future, entrepreneurs, right? So the secondary goal, we already know the primary goal. The secondary goal of the I-Corps program, which needs to be emphasized, is to promote the growth and maturity of the students, primarily the graduate students. Okay, so we wanted to, we want to make clear what the benefits are to faculty, researchers, and what are the benefits for students. So for faculty, and again, this is not prioritized, it's getting money. Once you complete the program, okay, these are the various sources of getting additional funding through NSF or other agencies, including NTRAC in Michigan. And the amounts shown for the different programs, they change once in a while. So, you can always look up the solicitation or the request for proposal to find out what the funding amount is. You can always launch a startup, okay? Now, one might say, well, I'm not interested in having a venture, but, I learned the concepts and I want to apply it in some other way. So that you could license your innovation. The I-Corps program, I've noticed over the last 11 years, there are many individuals who in the past were very focused on doing just fundamental research, but then all of a sudden they woke up one morning saying, you know what, this I-Corps program really helped me. I want to do more use-inspired fundamental research. So if you do that, then essentially with the use-inspired research, you can refine your idea to make it more market-ready and to develop a new technology to meet the market need. So you wouldn't know anything about the market needs unless you do the customer discovery. And then, of course, faculty members, they undergo this decreased risk-averse culture then once they go through the customer discovery process or I-Corps. For the benefits, again, it's not prioritized, but they can learn more than just their chosen field of study, grow their network because they're, through collaborations with industry and beyond. They naturally develop problem identification and problem-solving capabilities, improve your leadership skills. Now, you might ask me, Anne, well, how does one improve a student? Improve the leadership skills? Well, that's how the term, where the term entrepreneurial lead comes in. In the I-Corps, you heard of the term, technical lead or PI or industry mentor or entrepreneurial lead, because as an entrepreneurial lead, that particular student really has to be the quarterback of the team, conduct all the customer interviews, not 100% of the time, but most of the time, he or she has to prepare all the presentations, answer all the questions, identify customers with help from the team members. So that's how the leadership skills are developed. And the other important thing that everyone needs to know, you might say, I don't want a startup. I don't want to license my innovation. I just want to go and work for a big company where I can get a bonus and big salary, etc. Well, if that particular company has an innovation culture, then guess what? You can use all of these concepts that you learn in I-Corps to developing a new product. Okay. So there are many options that students have once they go through, and the faculty do. For faculty, it's essentially the funding, right? It opens up, just like that idea to impact slide you showed, the different avenues, and plus I added a few more. But for the students, they can, take advantage of some of the benefits that the faculty members have. And then, of course, they can be on their own by working for a large company and others.
This is really helpful, Babu. And in Amtrak, we, in almost every team we have postdocs, PhD students, master's students sometimes, and even earlier students. We have seen the trajectory of these students, whether they go into the startup space or take this extraordinarily valuable experience of learning how to persevere, how to communicate with different potential customers, other ecosystem partners, learning how to build teams, working in teams. That is a really invaluable process. So thank you for highlighting that, because our students are our future leaders. And I think that's a wonderful benefit of participating in this program.
I want to end with this particular slide with one comment that I heard the NSF director, the current NSF director, say at one of his presentations. And I'm going to paraphrase that because I don't remember the exact quote. But essentially, he was saying, even before he became the NSF director, he had gone through the I-Corps program, and I was the I-Corps program director at that time at NSF. And essentially what he says is, look, don't think about I-Corps just in terms of creating a venture, that you have to create a venture. And he says, success is not always measured by creating a venture. Success can also be measured by how you apply these concepts to all the things that you do. And then he gave a beautiful example of, he said, what I learned through I-Corps Discovery, I'm now applying. For example, I'm asking my staff, what are your needs? How can I help you? I'm asking the community, what are your needs? How can I help you? So it's not just, hey, I want to create a venture, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work out. And you say, oh, that was a waste of time. No, the concept that you learn, you can apply this honestly to so many things.
That's wonderful. Every experience is valuable, is what I'm hearing. And you take a lot of these tools into real life and you can apply them in many different places. And it probably also helps with the ongoing entrepreneurial journey, the iterative process, etc. So great to know. So let's talk about the types of I-Corps programs out there. So we always get this question, and we send our folks back to you. But I thought it might be really helpful to understand sort of the breadth and depth of the different program offerings that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of break these programs into two buckets, local I-Corps and regional I-Corps. And really the main difference is that the local I-Corps program is a little bit shorter, a little bit less work per week, a little fewer customer discovery interviews. It's just sort of a really introductory program into what I-Corps is and the topics that we teach you. Whereas the regional I-Corps program is generally for people who are already like, I know I want to dive into this customer discovery process. I really want to learn all that I can about it and really get immersed as soon as possible. And so that's sort of where the difference comes in. You can choose to do either one right out the gate. So yeah, with the local I-Corps program, generally more like 4 to 5 weeks, about 5 hours of work per week, 5 to 20 customer discovery interviews. We teach you a lot of the basics that we've been talking about in this session around customer discovery and customer roles. You can receive up to $500 per team to help if you wanted to, let's say, attend a conference. That money can help you help pay for that. If you wanted to upgrade your LinkedIn so that you can reach out to more people, we can help you do that. So it's a little bit of money to help with that process. And at the University of Michigan, we offer this program in March to April, July to August, or October to November each year. As I mentioned, there's a variety of other institutions we partner with, and you are also welcome to attend their programming as well. The regional I-Corps program usually is about 7 to 8 weeks and a little bit more hours of work per week. 20 to 30 customer discovery interviews is required during that time. We focus a little bit more on commercialization pathways and how to set your milestones and work through those. A little bit more money is available to teams who participate in that, up to 1,000. And again, we offer that 3 times per year, generally in the winter, summer, and fall. I will also say about the regional program that we have industry-focused cohorts. So we have a medical-focused cohort, we have a STEM-focused cohort, and then we have a different topic that we sort of rotate every year as well. So our website, once we show that, would have all of that information too.
Wonderful. So 6 offerings total a year, plenty of opportunities to go through this hub or your partner hubs. And it's nice that there is some additional opportunities to utilize the funding to help with the digital space. A lot of communication today through digital media. So some new learnings here for me as well. What types of I-Corps programs are out there continued? So we've got, I think, the big national program here.
Sure. So the local and regional I-Corps program help prepare you for a national level I-Corps program. And so this is also often called the NSF I-Corps Teams program. That's what the solicitation is called through the National Science Foundation. So this is a 7-week program requiring generally about 30 to 40 hours a week, especially for the entrepreneurial lead or the graduate student, because they are doing a lot of the customer interviewing. And so there is a $50,000 grant from NSF, and that can include a stipend for the graduate student. It can include funds for customer discovery travel. So there are ways that you can build out that budget to help with this process. And there has to be 3 individuals on the team. So there are a little more requirements with this program, where the local and regional, we're kind of more open about who can participate and everything. But for this, there has to be 3 individuals on the team: the entrepreneurial lead, which is typically the graduate student, a technical lead, typically the PI or a research scientist, and then an industry mentor. So generally someone who's in the industry that you're interested in learning more about, who has contacts and expertise that they can help share with you along the way. It's a requirement to conduct 100 customer discovery interviews in 7 weeks. So you have to do about 15 per week. It's very rigorous, similar to the local and regional, where the instructors will meet with you individually, help provide customized advice to what you're doing. And they'll really, sort of encourage you to do those interviews each week as well. It's focused around the business model canvas. So there's different boxes that you learn about and how that can help you learn about the industry and move forward with your technology. And so acceptance in this program, you can either have a prior NSF Research Award, and that would qualify you to participate in the national program, or you can complete the local or regional I-Corps program first and then attend the national program. And I will tell you that it's generally more preferred that even if you have an NSF award already, that you still attend the local and regional program, because trying to do 100 customer discovery interviews in 7 weeks is really hard if you've never done one before. So it's really, those programs are there to help you prepare for the national level experience. And there is a process around getting these awards to submit an executive summary. You interview with NSF, and then you submit a final proposal, which is a 5-page proposal to the agency.
Now, if a team has gone through the local or regional prior, do those interviews count towards this 100? No, but they can they contact? I know a lot of people out there are going to be doing this math. Can they contact the same folks again, or do they have to be unique?
If they feel like they have more hypotheses to test and different questions to ask some of the same people, that's okay to do. But there's a lot of people out there to talk to. So generally it's encouraged to talk to new folks, to learn new things.
And that's the important statement that Laura made at the end, that, If they can refine their hypothesis, or if they have new hypotheses, they can absolutely go back to the old customers. But otherwise, no way will they count.
Yes, and so this also goes back to the point you made earlier, Babu, about how with every interview you have, you ask the question, who else do you know that I might be able to talk to, right? Because if you can start generating that list in one of the earlier programs where it isn't required to have as many, then you might come into this program already with a substantial list of folks that you can contact.
I mean, towards the end of the interview, before you leave the room, that is absolutely a must. The question, whom else can you refer me to? And that's how you grow the customer base.
Mm-hmm. This is very insightful information. So now tell us, when can we begin? How does one get started in these programs?
Sure. So for the local and regional I-Corps program, we have a couple of programs coming up. The most relevant ones I've sort of listed here, but you can find more at the www.greatlakesicorps.org/coming events link that's shown on the slide. But we do have a regional I-Corps program starting February 3rd and a University of Michigan local I-Corps program starting March 3rd. So really soon opportunities for you to participate in. Again, they're both going to be offered in the summer and fall as well. Deadlines are generally 1 week before the program starts. So especially for that regional one, that date is coming up soon. So if you're interested, please sign up. The National I-Corps program offers 3 cohorts each quarter. So there are 12 opportunities to participate in the national program each year. It's a rolling application process. You generally want to apply 3 to 6 months before you'd like to go to the program. And you can find out more information at the link provided here as well.
Excellent. And we'll make sure that when this video gets posted, the links to this information and your contact information is provided as well, so folks can follow up directly with you.
Perfect.
So thank you both so much for this information, and feel free to add in your thoughts on these sort of closing slides here. Heading back a little bit back to the MTRAC Advanced Transportation proposal and grant program, we really believe there's a lot of value to the front end of the process. Going through programs such as I-Corps to really dive into customer discovery is so important. And how do we know that? We know that because 65 projects have come through the MTRAC grant program over the last 8 years. And out of the $6 million that's been awarded in grant funding, these teams have gone on to achieve a collective over $96 million in follow-on funding from some of the programs that were mentioned here, as well as others. And having a robust customer discovery process is one of those very key ingredients to having a robust proposal submission. So we strongly, highly encourage you to take advantage of the different opportunities provided by the I-Corps program and the great teaching and learning opportunities that you have throughout that process to really learn and iterate. The team at MTRAC will support the proposal development process. We have mentors on staff and others in the entrepreneurial ecosystem who can really help you. We work closely with this I-Corps team on receiving feedback and sort of helping you on that next step of the commercialization journey. Feedback is provided throughout the process, both on the written proposal and if you should continue into the pitch process. And that feedback comes from the MTRAC team, but also our board members, which include industry and venture capital folks, as well as startup and entrepreneurial experts. And so, whether or not you are awarded a grant, we try to make this process as value added as possible so you can have key learnings along every step of your journey. And then additionally, those who are awarded will receive funding from a grant funding from the program and a structured support process from mentors through the T3N statewide network. That is also another program that the MEDC sponsors that we're really grateful for. And that outreach and support is provided to awardees throughout the state. So again, I've mentioned a little bit about the value of the program, and everyone likes numbers. So here are some numbers for you. In the 8 years that the program has been in existence, there are 27 startups that have come out of this space. The 6 million I mentioned already, with the teams going on to achieve a collective over 96 million in follow-on funding. That's approximately 16x. And without a doubt, those teams that have done a thorough job with customer discovery and continue to take those learnings and apply them to their development process to get these technologies out of the lab and translate them to the market have been some of the teams with the biggest amounts of follow-on funding coming through. For this year, we will be opening up our proposal window on January 18th. It will run through the end of April, and we will have more information coming. We have aligned the dates. I know it said 22 on that sheet, so I'm just going to skip over that. We have aligned the dates actually to coincide with the I-Corps local program. So there will be a few weeks post that program that then provides additional opportunity to develop your final proposal. Our key takeaway here is that there are a wide rate of potential projects that can be applicable to the transportation and mobility space and for MTRAC, and we really invite you to come explore this program, come explore the I-Corps program, participate and utilize every resource that's available to you to really jumpstart your commercialization journey. Is there anything that you would like to add here, Laura or Babu?
I guess one thing I would just clarify is a lot of people come into this program thinking that, oh, I'm going to have to go out there and talk to people and it's going to feel like selling, right? And I don't want to feel like I'm selling something that's not something I'm really comfortable with. And I would just say that that is not at all what we want you to be doing. We want you to learn. And so it's not about your technology and your research that you're going out to promote. It's about learning about that ecosystem that your technology could impact. So it's a learning process, not a selling process.
Thank you for that clarification. And also that you provide tools and support to help people also get comfortable with that process. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, Babu? Any parting thoughts here?
Yeah, the key statement that I want to convey here, and I'll keep it very simple, or I'll try to, is, as you go through the customer discovery process, because remember, most of us, the scientists, the researchers are obsessed with our idea. We literally think that our idea is the best. This is our baby, right? Not literally, but you know what I mean. But this customer discovery process will very quickly, depending on how well the customer discovery process is going, and the more interviews you do, it's going to help you. Will tell you if you really need to hang on to that you should not hang on to the sinking ship and move on to something else, or if you don't want to listen to the customer, you're going to hang on to that sinking ship, and eventually your idea is going to die. So the customer discovery process is so important. Anytime you get research funding, and this is really going to help you also mature in many different ways. And you can learn also that, hey, before I really take it to market, maybe I need to refine my technology a little bit. And there's so many other things that open up through the customer discovery process. So this is a very, very important curriculum. It doesn't involve any research. Okay, it's a pre-prototype discussion. It's all about listening to the instructors and doing your homework assignments. And your homework assignment is talking to people. And everybody likes to talk, right? The customers like to talk, the teams will love to talk. So just asking questions, the right questions to test your assumptions. So this is a very, very helpful program for any kind of funding that you're trying to secure.
So I think you've heard it from all of us. We strongly endorse and encourage you all to explore and learn from these programs that are available for you. And Laura and Babu, I don't know if we actually mentioned this, but there is no cost to actually sign up for these programs. Is that correct?
You're right. I didn't mention that, but there is no cost to sign up for these programs. In fact, as the slides kind of mentioned, you can get a little bit of money for participating.
Yeah, the word is in capital letters, FREE.
So, talking about value, here is an incredible opportunity to participate through a program that has multiple offerings based on what your time availability is, and really surround yourself with folks who are going to help you be successful in that customer discovery process. And there's incentives along the way and additional opportunities and doors that open up. So, and it's free, as Babu reminded us. So I really would really like to thank you both and the entire staff of the Great Lakes I-Corps Hub for your continuing dedication and support to researchers interested in commercialization or others that want to participate. And we at Amtrak Advanced Transportation really appreciate your partnership and the support that you've given our researchers, teams, and program throughout the years.
Thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate being here and partnering with Amtrak too.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Babu.
Both. And with that, what we will do is we will post all of this information on our websites, and we will provide the links so that you can directly communicate with Laura and Babu, as there are, opportunities coming up in the very near future that you can take advantage of to jumpstart your customer discovery process.